Okay, so I just got finished at the gym and this question came in. I'm gonna take a quick video, make a quick video on this because this question and variations of this question is asked to us a lot and it's important. And it deals with during pregnancy or labor and delivery, what is doctor negligence? In other words, what this question is asking is what is medical malpractice? And I'm going to talk about this from my context. I am a birth injury or birth trauma attorney. If you're new to my videos or to this page, what that means is what I do is I help families investigate specifically during the labor and delivery part of things. If their baby has suffered a traumatic brain injury like HIE, what I do is I help the families be able to understand the cause of the injury or the harm. Was it something that the doctors or the hospital or the nurses, was it something that they did? And if they are responsible or if they did cause the injury, I help families recover financially from those who are responsible for the injury or the harm. Now, while I'm doing this, when I talk to families and I get an idea of what was happening, reviewing medical records, talking with experts, I have in my understanding a backdrop of understanding the elements and things that have to be proven to be able to be successful with these cases. Because it is very important to understand that just because you may have a result that you were not expecting or it was, something that you didn't see coming, that does not necessarily mean that medical malpractice was the cause of the injury or the harm. When we're talking about medical malpractice, essentially, and especially if you are in a state like here in Maryland, what we are essentially saying is this is negligence. And to be able to prove negligence, in general, there's 4 elements that we're looking at, and that is whether there was a duty, a breach of that duty, which caused, number 3 is causation, the damages. And damages are, in our context, the injury or the harm. Those 4 elements have to be present, and you've got to be able to prove that. Inside of that, under that big umbrella, there's also other things. Like, for example, whether there was a departure from the standard of care, which is what caused the injury or the harm to the baby. In this case, if it was a traumatic brain injury, an HIE injury, whether there was a deviation from the standard of care, which caused the injury or the harm. Now, from that, you may be asking yourself, well, okay, this standard of care thing, what is this? Is this something that everybody knows? Or how do we know what the standard of care was for you and for your baby? And in our context, the easiest way to kind of think about this is what would a reasonable and prudent medical professional do in the same set of circumstances or in the same facts that are presented? That is what we're looking at with the standard of care. That standard of care issue is also something that has to be, an opinion for standard of care has to be given by a qualified medical professional who can give that opinion on the standard of care, who knows what that standard of care is based on that situation and those circumstances. So tying that all back to this video and to what we do, in a lot of instances, in a lot of our cases, especially when there's been an oxygen deprivation, one of the main areas that we are looking at to see whether there was a departure from that standard of care causing the injury or the harm are the electronic fetal heart monitor, the strips. That's where we are looking because those strips can help us be able to get a snapshot or a picture as to what was going on with your baby in real time to understand what may have happened. And so being able to understand and read the readings on the electronic fetal heart monitor, the strips, all of those types of things, they are important and for us being able to analyze and being able to help families understand, you know what? No, these strips were problematic. The doctors and the nurses, they should have recognized this. They should have done certain things based on what the strips are showing. And if they did not do that, and that is tied down into causing the oxygen deprivation, which is leading to the baby to suffer a traumatic brain injury. These are all of the pieces and some of the things that we are looking at when we are helping families find these answers, essentially trying to figure out, did medical malpractice cause the injury or the harm? Now, the second part of this is also present. This is why it is very important that when you're trying to find these answers, that you deal with professionals, attorneys who understand these issues, know where to look, know what questions to ask, know what types of experts are needed to put all of these pieces together. I talked today about the fetal heart monitor. That is important, but there's other things that are important. For example, if an ultrasound was done, if a CT scan was done, imaging, all of these types of things, cord gas levels, all of these things and more are important when looking to help families understand whether there was medical malpractice which caused their baby's traumatic brain injury at birth. If you have more questions, maybe you're watching this video today because your baby has suffered a traumatic brain injury and you would like to speak with me or my office further about what's going on, what we talked about today, HIE, mentioned a little bit about cord gas levels and fetal heart strips, all of these things. If you have those types of questions, what I invite you to do is go ahead and pick up the phone and call me. There's a telephone number down below. I invite you to call my office and talk to us about what's going on with your baby and your baby story. It costs you absolutely nothing initially to talk with us about what's going on. One more thing before I get out of here today. I practice law here in the state of Maryland, and I know that this video is online, it's on my website, YouTube, other types of social media platforms. I cannot control who's going to reach out and who's going to call and contact me. Please understand that if you contact us, you're in the United States, but you contact us and you're not in Maryland, understand that we have to use what we call co-counsel or local counsel. In other words, an attorney in your state. And that's something that we can work to help you on. But I just want to make sure that you understand that co-counsel or that local counsel aspect of things if you contact us and you are not in Maryland. All right, that's going to be it for today's quick educational video. Again, I'm Marcus Boston, and I'm one of the childbirth injury and medical malpractice attorneys practicing law here in the state of Maryland at Boston Law Group, LLC. We'll talk with you next time. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.